Football, the legendary coach who made Ronaldo unstoppable and dominated world football. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 11. Local London time at 15:30 p.m, a press conference before the Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur matches is underway. Countless long guns and short cannons are directed at Tottenham coach Nuno and Manchester United coach Liu Yi. Compared with Liu Yi's indifferent face, Nuno smiled like a blooming chrysanthemum, which was disgusting. Everyone thought that Liu Yi was pretending to be calm. Who could have imagined that he stayed up late last night to practice in the game, and saved more than a dozen in a row before getting a satisfactory result. Now it's just a little sleepy. First interview the head coach Nuno. Liu Yi sat on the side, listening without a word. We will use the attack to strongly reverse the decline of this period. Manchester United are a strong team and I deeply regret Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's departure. Liu is from the mysterious Dragon Kingdom, but it seems that the football of the Dragon Kingdom is not very good. They may not be able to do this. I hope to please the Tottenham fans with a big win, and I hope the hearts of the Manchester United fans can bear it a little stronger. If it hurts anyone, then I'm sorry. Liu Yi, who lacked some interest, listened to this guy's blind chatter, and a stomach full of anger came out. Originally, he was sitting on the edge of the class, and there was still a little sympathy and embarrassment, and now the only thing left was to kill him. When it was Liu Yi's turn to speak, Liu Yi waved his hand and signaled that he did not need to ask questions from everyone. We'll use the attack to tell Tottenham Hotspur, and the rest of the Premier League, the real Manchester United have returned. If Mr. Nuno is fired directly after the game, then I'm sorry. Finally, I hope Tottenham fans can have a big heart. Congratulations to Manchester United fans in advance, can enjoy a pleasant night. After speaking, Liu Yi directly got up and left the scene of the press conference with his hands up. But for journalists and media, this is enough. Since Mourinho left the Premier League, there has not been such a big press conference for a long time. On the internet, all kinds of media reports were sent out in a short period of time. #Nuno, Dragon people don't deserve to talk about football. Hashtag Tottenham will use a big win to start Liu Yi's tragic Premier League journey. Hashtag Manchester United fans express their dissatisfaction with the coach. Hashtag press conference site. Liu has been watching the beauty reporter of the Manchester Evening News. Hashtag Sleeper, look at this one, and sure enough, it's your son. Hashtag Manchester United's new coach, he will send Nuno out of class with a big victory. Hashtag Crazy, the new Manchester United manager does not know the sky is high. Hashtag In short, there is no positive comment on Liu Yi, even if it is biased towards Manchester United media. There is also a pessimistic mood, do not know what to say. 10 minutes before the start of the game, in the locker room of the new White Hart Lane away team, Liu Yi clapped his hands, indicating that he had something to say, and the team members were quiet in unison. I stress again that our main theme of this game is attack. I hope everyone is in good spirits. Liu was the first to stand up, held out a hand, and put it on Liu Yi's hand. Immediately after the other players, Fei and others also stood up, the hands of the crowd together, and roared 3 times in unison. Attack! 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 Liu Yi nodded satisfactorily, and when this game is over, it seems that in the case of Liu so cooperative, he can give him more promotion and let him score more penalties. He was the first to leave the dressing room with a smile, but soon the smile on his face faded and turned gloomy. The new White Hart Stadium is full of people, except for 2,000 or 3,000 Manchester United fans who have come from afar. The rest are Tottenham fans. Take out Manchester United. Let the Dragon Kingdom people go back to the Dragon Country. Let the United taste our strength. The sound of the mountains calling for a tsunami made Liu Yi slightly lose his mind. After all, he had never experienced such a big scene in his life. Tottenham live DJ and live footage immediately captured this shot. Oh, look at our poor little colorful bird, you should be scared silly by such a big scene. Hopefully he doesn't get scared to cry. After all, in a moment, Tottenham will use the goal to make him collapse. In the Sports Live broadcast room of Longhua, the famous commentators Zhang He and Zhang Jun are also explaining the game. This is our new head coach for Manchester United, hopefully he can lead Manchester United to victory, he. The first time I faced this kind of scene, Liu Yi was a little confused and normal, but we believe he will adjust soon. Despite being a Liverpool fan, Zhang Jun still found a supplement for Liu Yi. Liu Yi in the shot, his face is getting more and more ugly. Following his gaze, a huge banner appears in the camera. Sick man of East Asia, kneel. There is no doubt that this is an insult to the Dragon Kingdom. No wonder Liu Yi's face is not good looking. Even Zhang He and Zhang Jun in the live broadcast room are also blue in the face. As a Dragon Country person, Liu Yi must be angry. Who isn't angry? I hope the Premier League can give an explanation after the game. At this time, Liu Yi in the live broadcast shot raised one of his hands, held out 5 fingers in the direction of the fans, and made a slapping action. The insults and boos at the scene instantly soared a lot. Go back and call mommy. Dragon people don't deserve to stand here. Our grandson and Kane will kick your ass hard. In the face of the scolding in the sky, Liu Yi stood on the sidelines with a cold face, and the flames in his eyes were burning. With a whistle from the referee, the game began. Spectators, welcome to the 10th round of the Premier League, Manchester United's away game against Tottenham Hotspur. I am the commentator Zhang Jun. I am Zhang He. Episode 12. Manchester United's starting starts are forward Cristiano Ronaldo, Cavani and Lingard, midfielders Buffon, Fred and McTominay, and defenders Luke Shaw, Maguire, Varane and Wan-Bissaka. The fierce player is naturally De Gea, who has played quite well lately, and there is no reason to take him down. At the beginning of the game, Ronaldo knocked the ball back to the B, and then Cavani and Lingard had rushed forward with all their might. Buffon kicked over the top and passed the ball to Cavani, who gave Lingard a head, and Lingard knocked back Ronaldo. Outside the penalty area, Luo took advantage of the opponent's unstable footing and resolutely got up to shoot. The ball sped past Tottenham goalkeeper Lloris's fingers and flew towards the goal, and just when he was feeling desperate, there was a bump behind him. The ball smashed into the goalpost, popping the bottom line, and Tottenham dodged it. The longtime Tottenham fans, after a brief silence, erupted in even greater boos and insults. Manchester puppies, get back to the milk. The waste of the Dragon Kingdom, get back to your country, you are not welcome here. Even Nuno leaned over and shouted at Liu Yi in Portuguese, Longo Lu, if I say that I am not happy with you, I am sorry. From his smiling face, where can you see the meaning of the apology, which is obviously stimulating Liu Yi? If Liu Yi made any unreasonable moves under his stimulation, it would be perfect. The head coach's psychological warfare is also part of the football war. 6 minutes later, Tottenham attacked in front of the field, and the Asian superstar from the cold country, Sun Min, deflected a long-range shot. But this also made Tottenham fans cheer. After all, only the goal can be scored, not to say whether to score or not to score, first shoot and then say. Not to be outdone, United's side was only 2 minutes later, when Cavani received a pass from Ronaldo in front of him and shot furiously. Unfortunately, Tottenham players were released from the danger zone. Over time, both the narrators and the fans have found that Manchester United, the rookie manager, is really directing the team's attack, and playing loudly and colorfully, and even once pushed Tottenham back. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun was speaking. It seems that our mysterious head coach really has 2 brushes. Zhang He, don't say, just Buffon, Lingard and Ronaldo, Cavani's front court cooperation, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer cannot get it. Zhang Jun smiled, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can't figure it out, if he is there, Lingard can't play. In the 27th minute, Tottenham's player Romero's offside goal made the entire Tottenham fans crazy again. Unfortunately, for the next 10 minutes, the two sides came and went, playing very lively, but they just couldn't score. In the 38th minute, Manchester United attacked. Liu Yi stood on the sidelines, and suddenly made a punch-down action. The on-site commentator, yo, look at Manchester United's rookie manager, what a rush to become, I hope he can go back and find a good psychologist. His voice had just fallen, and in the United front court attack, Buffon made a long diagonal pass and the Tottenham defenders rose to the top. Ronaldo appeared where he should have been, volleyed the door at a small angle, and broke through Lloris's 10 fingers. Hit the goal, the ball went in. The goal was Cristiano Ronaldo. Manchester United fans who came from afar began to celebrate wildly, and Viva Ronaldo singing sounded at the new White Hart Stadium. The camera swept over Liu Yi in time, and after shaking his fist in celebration, he coldly put up a finger. Zhang Jun laughed. It seems that Liu Yi is not satisfied, saying that this is only the first goal. Zhang hey, you don't have to say, we are not happy. It is estimated that Liu Yi at the scene is even more angry. Nuno, who was not far from Liu Yi, constantly roared and signaled the team to press the attack, and the smile on his face had long disappeared. Liu Yi himself wanted to go over and pry this guy, angry at him, and retaliate for the previous provocation to himself. Thinking about it, this is only a goal, what does it mean to pluck, and so on. When the time came to 46 minutes of stoppage time, the camera once again swept over Liu Yi on the coach's bench, only to see him stand up again and violently wave his fist. The scene was still Manchester United attack, and Ronaldo suddenly thought that the previous manager had specifically told him that there might be a chance to score before the end of the first half to prevent offside. By 47 minutes, the referee had the whistle in his mouth, ready to finish the game. McTominay struggled to grab the ball in midfield, barely taking a few steps forward, and Ronaldo had found an opportunity to kill from between the two defenders and receive the ball from Scott McTominay. Mike passed the ball, Ronaldo faced the goalkeeper, a single knife. Ronaldo shot, violent shot, goalkeeper helpless, the ball went in. In the narrator's crazy commentary, DR confirmed that there was no offside, and Luo and his teammates had begun to celebrate. Liu Yi, who was on the sidelines, suddenly rushed out more than 100 meters and ran under the banner that read, "Sick man of East Asia," frantically shaking his fist and roaring. "You fucking arrogant bastards, what should kneel down as you garbage?" Liu Yi roared angrily, like an enraged tiger, constantly fighting back in English. The simple words "sick man of East Asia," kneeling deeply stung him, which was an unforgettable memory that belonged to the country and the nation. Every patriot brings up this history with only deep humiliation and anger. Throughout the first half, Liu Yi was tortured, and that sentence was like a knife, constantly stabbing him. "My country is not good at football, but this is not a reason for you garbage to humiliate us. In contrast to the descendants of your gang of robbers, you should feel ashamed and ashamed. Go to your uncles, come and kneel for Lao Tzu." Liu Yi faced thousands of Tottenham fans, frantically shaking his fists and shouting over and over again. In the live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang He suddenly reddened their eyes. No matter what Liu's level is, he dares to defend the dignity of the country in front of so many people, and he is a person worthy of respect. It's not easy. Zhang He didn't he this time, and wiped his eyes with his hand. The bullet screen in the live broadcast room suddenly brushed up. "Liu Yi, we support you. Let those bastards taste your might." Episode 13. At halftime, in the away dressing room where Manchester United was located, no one spoke, and everyone looked at their manager silently, leaning against the door and looking at the ceiling without a word. One can probably understand why the manager is angry. Luo stood up, patted Liu Yi's shoulder, and hugged him. Taking a deep breath, Liu Yi completely calmed down, and the venting he had just made outside let the anger in his heart dissipate somewhat. "Sorry, I'm a bit out of shape." The players of the team began to applaud, and the head coach who only took them half the game has made people a little accepting of him. "Thank you all." In the second half we continued to attack and completely destroyed Tottenham's courage to face us. Briefly talking about tactics, it is basically copied from the game, of course, there is no problem. The distant Dragon Kingdom, although it is not too early to say that the time is not early, but on the internet, it still set off a wave of storms. Liu Yi faced the insulting slogan, and the picture of the crazy roar continued to spread on the internet. From the circle of friends, to the space, to the large and small forums and websites. The fans who stayed up late expressed their support for him. "I don't know if he deserves to be a head coach, but I know he's a real Dragon countryman. Look crying, I'm so worried that someone above me has dropped something and smashed him." Ordinary people face this kind of scene, tens of thousands of people boo at you, and when they express their dissatisfaction, they are estimated to be directly paralyzed. It is hard to imagine where Liu Yi's courage came from, a person facing tens of thousands of people, so crazy to pay tribute to him, admire him. Maybe this is a Dragon countryman, a descendant of a dragon, hiding in the depths of his heart for the motherland and bloodiness. It's still late at night, and after dawn, the news will be further fermented as more people wake up from their slumber. On the contrary, the foreign media is a different face. Look at the ugly face of the Dragon country people, but it is only to take a small lead, just so crazy, clown. The Times. Nuno and Tottenham in the second half will let him know what real football is, and he will cry and go back to his mother. The London Financial Journal. Liu's ugly performance, like a gambler who is in a hurry, makes people feel disgusting. The Liverpool Echo. Wait, these newspapers invariably ignored the extreme fans of Tottenham, the banner that was played, the insult to Longua and Liu Yi. 15 minutes flew by and the game was about to begin. Liu Yi stood at the door of the locker room, high-fiving his team members, one by one. "Cristiano, I think you're going to score a hat-trick today." "As you wish." Luo and Liu Yi high-fived. He himself also felt very good, eager to usher in, return to Manchester United's first hat-trick. Jesse lingered, "You'll have a better play in the second half." David, De Gea, hopefully you'll be a little bit free in the second half. Liu Yi followed the crowd out of the players' tunnel and stood on the edge of the coach's seat, just in time to see Nuno also come out. After thinking about it, he resolutely leaned over and said a word in his ear. "Sir, maybe you should start looking for a job early, and if I don't make you happy, I'm so sorry." At the beginning of the first half, Nuno gave Liu Yi a provocation, and Liu Yi returned it unceremoniously. "You don't give them some color to see, these grandchildren don't understand the respect of people." Nuno stood on the edge of the court with an ugly face, and from the first minute of the second half, he constantly roared and let the players press on the attack. Unfortunately, it was Manchester United who scored first, and it was the man, Cristiano Ronaldo. In the 52nd minute, Jesse Lingard received a pass from Fred in front of the field, and in the process of driving with the ball, Tottenham Hotspur player Romero was directly put to the ground and received a free kick 30 meters from the goal. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean June and Zhang He seriously explained. More than 30 meters, the young C. Ronaldo, or Marcus Rashford off the field, may come to a kick, which is too far for the BF, and it is estimated that an indirect free kick will be played. See what Liu Yi is commanding? Zhang He noticed that Liu Yi on the screen was shouting into the stadium. B, who was standing in front of the free kick, was stunned and then ran to the front of the box and said 2 words in front of Ronaldo. "Cristiano, here you go." Liu Yi shouted at him in Portuguese, and C. Luo looked at the goal and nodded. It seems that Liu Yi let C. Luo punish this free kick, and he wanted C. Luo to score a hat-trick. Zhang He analyzed. Jean June turned over the information, and then continued. However, in recent years, the quality of C. Luo's free kicks has declined very seriously, and he has not scored for a long time. The words just fell. Liu Yi on the screen shook his fist heavily, and C. Luo on the court stared at the goal with his eyes dead. People can't help but think of the 2018 World Cup. He scored the free kick in Spain. The referee's whistle sounded, and Ronaldo sped up violently, hitting the lower half of the football with the instep accurately, to the left. A clear arc is drawn in the air in the football, and then with a sharp fall, it rubs the crossbar of the goal and falls into the goal. Goalkeeper Loris held his hands up like a gesture of surrender. Jean June said, "Hit the fly." The 3 words had not yet fallen, and Zhang He, who was next to him, had already shouted. Elevator ball. C. Ronaldo used a trademark elevator ball to complete his first hat-trick back to Manchester United, to go to the amazing dance, fast like an electric collapse, one hit must kill. On the football field, C. Luo came straight to Liu Yi, the two hugged each other on the sidelines, and other players also poured up to celebrate together. It took 2 minutes before it stopped with the referee's interference. "Keep attacking." Liu Yi waved his hand with great vigor and had the appearance of commanding thousands of troops, but in the eyes of Longwa fans and Manchester United fans, he was extremely handsome. The game continued on the pitch, and Tottenham Hotspur manager Nuno's face had become extremely ugly, like a devastated chrysanthemum. The opportunity to beat the falling water dog, Liu Yi will never miss. "Why didn't you laugh? Didn't you laugh very happily before?" He said this deliberately in Portuguese, and it is estimated that few people present can understand it, and Nuno, as a Portuguese, is one of them. Episode 14. The new White Hart Lane Stadium has become quieter and quieter, and Tottenham fans have long lost the madness that has just begun. Of course, extreme fans are the exception, and the banner of Sick Man of East Asia, kneeling, is shaken vigorously. There were also people shouting frantically at Liu Yi. "Dragon Kingdom waste, you have the ability to continue to score." This guy was standing behind Liu Yi. Liu Yi heard this clearly, and looked back at this crazy bearded fat man with scarlet eyes, like an enraged bulldog. Immediately a smile appeared on his face, and he held out a finger and shook it towards him. Then he shouted, "As you wish." Looking at his watch, the time simulated last night was almost the same, and he immediately shouted to the field. "Swing your fist in front of you and make a boxing motion." The camera just caught the scene, and in the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Jean June and Zhang He couldn't help but be curious. Before Liu Yi threw his punches 3 times in a row, he scored every time. Will he still do this time? "I think it will, he. By the 63rd minute, Jesse Lingard had a successful steal on the right and, after a few simple shakes, handed the ball over to B. Fei Shuncher passed the ball to C. Ronaldo, who took the ball not far from the penalty area and made a fake move with the ball to break through, attracting the attention of the defenders. But the ball was already passing under his feet, and Cavani, who was inserted at high speed in the middle of the road, led the ball along the way, and shot with a light foot. The ball flew over Loris and fell into the back goal. Cadazzo rushed to the sidelines to celebrate, turning back to point to see Ronaldo, thanking his master. It's like a beautiful woman looking back, very handsome. The Tottenham fans behind Liu Yi were dumbfounded, and the red-eyed guy had to open his mouth to say something, and was directly pulled back by the people around him, and then pressed down on the seat. Shut up your bird's beak, do you still want him to continue humiliating us? You cowards. The guy opened his mouth to scold back, but he felt that the atmosphere was not right, and looked around, and a dozen big men were staring at him. The words to the mouth simply swallowed back. God, let's get the game over. After the goal, C. Ronaldo, who scored 3 shots and 1 pass, was replaced by Liu Yi with Rashford. Marcus, run, don't let me see you holding the pestle in place. Okay, coach. Master Ra nodded, and this point was changed to himself, obviously for further harvesting. On the sidelines, C. Luo hugged Liu Yi with a smile on his face, and he began to believe in this young and crazy guy and his appetite. Immediately after exchanging Sancho for the Beefy, the front court became Cavani, Master Law and lingered. The Beefy of sending 2 assists, in the applause of more than 3,000 fans, came to the sidelines. It seems that our Liu Yi is ready to receive it when he sees it, and the 4 balls are almost the same. Jean Jun looked at Liu Yi's substitution and felt that it was the meaning of Mingjin's collection of soldiers. Zhang Hehe shook his head, hey, I don't think that these young people are still full of momentum when they go up. Within a few minutes, seeing that Cavani was somewhat physically deficient, Liu Yi glanced at the substitutes on the sidelines. Eyes eventually fell on Van der Beek, a truly high-class commodity, and the predecessor Ole Gunnar Solskjaer spent more than $40 million to buy it, and he couldn't even play the game. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a player, he brought Liu Yi, a Manchester United fan, a lot of happiness and worthy of respect. But as a coach, there is no routine of his own, and he relies on his life to support himself. Downy, Van der Beek. Van der Beek's heart was hot and he quickly ran to Liu Yi. You'll go up there, and the activity area is mainly between Marcus and Lingard, and then the backcourt is between Fred and McTominay, and play to your strengths. Liu Yi pointed to the tactical board and drew a comparison on it. Understood. Van der Beek nodded. Do you know what the purpose of going up is? Crisp Tottenham. Van der Beek suddenly said something, which made Liu Yi's eyes light up. This boy has a future. Reaching out and patting his hips, Liu Yi waved a big hand. Come on. In the 68th minute, Cavani went down and Van der Beek went up, Sancho was pushed into the front, and the front court became Marcus Rashford, Lingard and Sancho. Just after completing the substitution, Maguire was dribbling the ball at the back, and as a result, he did not guard against Sun Xingyu behind him and was directly missed. Before he could turn around and grab it, Son Heung-min sent the ball to the middle and Tottenham Hotspur big man Kane pulled out his foot and shot furiously. De Gea, who was engrossed, flew to the bottom line and roared at Maguire. Liu Yi is even more dissatisfied. As Manchester United captain, the team's main central defender, you can't make mistakes one by one. If it weren't for Kane's recent poor form, it is estimated that he would have conceded the ball. United's attack did not stop, and in the 83rd minute, Fred made another successful midfield steal and handed the ball to Van der Beek. Van der Beek went straight to Lingard, who was not greedy, and saw that Master Ra had rushed up and swept past with a simple kick. At this time, there was no one around Master Law, and there was only the goalkeeper Loris in front. Dale turned around and tried to catch up. It was a joke, let Master Ra run, and there were few people in the Premier League. A few seconds later, Rashi simply tricked the goalkeeper and pushed the ball in. The score came to 0-5, Manchester United beat Tottenham Hotspur by 5 goals away. Because the play was so smooth, the referee only gave 3 minutes of stoppage time, and the Tottenham players had no intention of playing. In order to prevent players from being injured, Liu Yi signaled to the players to stabilize the ball. Outside the stadium of New White Hart Lane, a large number of fans who left the stadium early were almost the same as after the last Manchester United loss to Liverpool. As the referee's whistle sounded, Liu Yi shook hands with Nuno, who was black-faced, and smiled as he walked toward his players. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean Jun and Zhang Hehe were still working. With a 5-goal victory, start his coaching career, even if it is tomorrow's class, Liu Yi also has his own masterpiece, not afraid of no job. Hey. I see, maybe Manchester United really came back to life at the hands of this boy, and today's performance of Cristiano Ronaldo and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's hands are completely different. Episode 15. After the game, Liu Yi took the players to thank the fans who came from afar, and the two sides had a good interaction. On the internet, various news outlets have begun their performances. 5 goals win. Manchester United rookie manager luckily beat the in-form Tottenham Hotspur and barely managed to keep his job. The London Financial Journal. Kevin, who was in the press room, waiting for the post-match press conference, saw the news and couldn't help but scold. This call a fluke defeat. Even the Liverpool fans around him, Hu Qingshu's big sister, couldn't help but complain. A 5-goal victory is also called a fluke, which is also outrageous. No way, this special lady is the prejudice of the foreigners against us. I hope Liu Yi can punch them in the face. Kevin gritted his teeth and shook his fist. Other media outlets are also publishing news, and the angle is not only this. Cristiano Ronaldo played well to save United's poor rookie manager. The Liverpool Echo. Manchester United will be united in their will, and the Manchester United coach is helpless. The Daily Mail. Kevin, you see this, what is the coach helpless? I see Liu Yi shot once, you can score a goal. Hu Qingshu watched the news while complaining. Kevin was no longer able to complain, and he decided to add the clips to his account as a video for fans to watch. Judging from the Manchester United manager's live performance, he should be a virgin without a girlfriend. The Sun. The other reports are still coming. Other reports make people angry, but when they see this, Kevin and Qingshu can't help but laugh out loud. Worthy of you, The Sun. In Sky Sports' live broadcast room, a group of commentators are chattering. Neville and the old wrongdoer Carragher are no exception. This game, the performance of the players, makes me a little more confident about this season. Neville is somewhat dissatisfied with Liu Yi, who replaced Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. After all, the former is his old friend. Carragher is another attitude, directly said, I watch this game, Manchester United's new head coach, the performance can be much more exciting than the players, has not seen for many years, some people have taken the initiative to provoke the fans, I hope the FA will strictly investigate. As a Liverpool celebrity, he is keen to watch Manchester United jokes, which is naturally a matter of course. But when he spoke, he ignored the fans' insults and provocations to Liu Yi, which made people feel very unhappy. Without waiting for his voice to fall, the bullet screen and comments in the live broadcast room have been directly drowned out by international students from Longwa and netizens who have climbed over the wall. Widen your dog's eyes and see, what did they say? Hope Carragher apologizes, this is not a celebrity, what should be said? What's the matter, Tottenham garbage fans are riding on their necks too, and Liu Yi can't fight back. Apologies. At the press conference, Nuno found a bunch of reasons to explain today's situation, but he himself knew that the class was probably a foregone conclusion. Mr. Nuno, how do you evaluate today's opponent, Liu from the Dragon Kingdom? This is the Times reporter, the question is naturally not kind, hoping that the two can quarrel. Nuno coughed softly and glanced at Liu Yi beside him. To all the colleagues in the Premier League, a tough lion has appeared on the prairie. Sleeper, what are you talking about? He humiliated you with 5 goals, shouldn't you fight back fiercely and lash out at his behavior? That's a compliment. Unfortunately, Nuno did not give them a chance to continue to ask questions, and directly got up and left the press conference. Numerous long guns and short cannons instantly hit Liu Yi's side, and today Manchester United, the rookie head coach, is the protagonist. Unfortunately, Liu Yi did not give them the opportunity to ask questions. He knocked on the microphone in front of him, glanced at the reporters present, and spoke directly. Maybe in your eyes, I'm a clown who doesn't know where to come from, who has gone and become a Manchester United manager, an insignificant little man in a vast sea of people, and countless such people live or die every day. But people have their own weaknesses, there are things that cannot be offended, such as faith, such as relatives, such as the motherland. Although you call me a madman, a shit junk, a clown, a waste. I don't care about that, being Manchester United's manager naturally has to bear some of these things. Speaking of this, Liu Yi paused slightly, stood up from his seat, and looked at the crowd condescendingly. But you should not insult my motherland and insult my nation, and whoever dares to do such a thing in front of Lao Tzu will play with him for his life. Who wants to try it, just let the horses come. Liu Yi's face turned red, and he roared his anger at the reporters and the live camera. It's not about football, it's a reason to be a person. After saying that, Liu Yi turned directly away, and he still had to celebrate the victory and deal with the punishment that the FA could have. Suspension or fine, he admitted. In the press box, Kevin looked up at the sky with red eyes and sighed, but why was there so much sand in his eyes? Hu Qingshu beside him, tears have long flowed out uncontrollably. At this moment she is not a Liverpool fan, she is a supporter of Longwa and Liu Yi. Episode 16. Liu Yi made a big fuss at the post-match press conference. and his every move was recorded by high-definition cameras, allowing netizens around the world to point out. His remarks naturally became the focus of attention. Dragon fans and netizens naturally expressed their support and protested against Tottenham fans' behavior. Even Manchester United have spoken out to show the club's attitude, to protect their own managers from being banned just after the second game in office, which is really a joke. For the FA, provoking fans is a must-be banned, and internal research has begun to be done to see how many games to ban and how much to fine to show the majesty of the FA. 10 games are banned, a fine of £100,000, that's our rule. FA Chief Executive Mark Brenheim said with a grim face that, to be honest, he felt that Manchester United was looking for a dragon rookie to be the head coach, which was a shame for the British Empire. "We are the world's first league, why let a waste to gild, we must punish him fiercely." Mark, but it's because of the Tottenham fans. Mark Brenheim waved his hand, signaling the others not to be impatient. He had his own tricks. "Fans, we just need to ban 5 games. Liu Yi in the away team's locker room at the new White Hart Lane Stadium is not yet aware of the problem, and he is celebrating the victory with his players. "Guys, this game is not good." "Cool," the crowd shouted in unison. "It seems that you all feel this way, so in the next game, our principle is still to attack more fiercely and enter more coolly." Liu Yi raised his hand and shouted. "Attack harder, advance more cool." Fred took the lead and began to shout. He could obviously feel his changes in this game, so he was full of gratitude to Liu Yi in his heart. "I am already 28 years old, and if I say that I will not change again, I am afraid that I will not have any chance in this life." And now his new head coach, just using a training method, let himself get some improvement, for Liu Yi is naturally grateful. See, Liu's feelings are also very obvious. In the past 2 years, he can feel that his body is not as good as when he was young, but this game seems to have begun to recover. This is all because Liu Yi, his own head coach, has not hidden his divine skills from the Dragon Kingdom to himself, praising God and coaching. All the people in the locker room shouted together dozens of times before they could pick up the mood and go back to Manchester. The next game is to go to the Apennine Peninsula and challenge the real blue and black Atlanta, and no one thinks that this is an opponent that can be easily won. Dragon ambassador to England is also a loyal fan. He also watched the live broadcast of this game, and everything that happened in the live broadcast was clearly seen by him. "I don't know the level of coaching this kid, but he's definitely a good kid, and we have to protect him." Hearing the ambassador say this, the adjutant and secretary around him already knew what to do. After all, they have been in England for many years, and they know very well about the bureaucratic urine on this side, and if they move their butts, they will know whether these guys are holding urine or secretly farting. When Liu Yi sat on the club bus, his mobile phone received a bunch of messages, all from friends in China, and some congratulations and greetings from friends. Pick some important returns, the rest are directly ignored, and respond in the circle of friends. After brushing Facebook, I just saw the Facebook of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Embassy in the United Kingdom, and protested against the British side with a solemn resignation. In response to the ugly scene of insulting our country and the people in the match between Manchester United and Tottenham, I strongly demand an explanation from the relevant departments in England. Suddenly I felt a little warm, and sure enough, someone still supported me. At this time, Liu Yi's mobile phone rang, looked at the number mark on it, and the Longwa Embassy in the United Kingdom quickly picked it up. "Hello, is it Liu Yi?" "It's me, are you?" Liu Yi responded politely. "I am the secretary of our Longwa ambassador to the United Kingdom. The ambassador went to negotiate with the British side. He told you to rest assured, there will be no problem. We Longwa people do not eat this set now." Hearing this, Liu Yi breathed a long sigh of relief and estimated that he would not have to be banned. "Thank you for your concern, but it is a trouble." "Ha ha ha, what's so troublesome about this? Our embassy is for those of you who are wandering outside, and the ambassador also praised you for your good boy and free time to come to the embassy for a turn." After a few small talks, the two hung up the phone, and Liu Yi had an ambassador's personal number in his phone. Mark Brenheim was about to call Manchester United to announce the punishment for Liu Yi and teach this crazy Dragon Kingdom a hard lesson. The phone in front of me suddenly rang, looked at the number on it, and quickly picked it up. The caller was the president of the FA, also the famous Prince William. For such a powerful old aristocrat, let alone the royal family, Brenheim had to kneel and lick. "Mark, how are you going to punish Liu?" "Your Royal Highness, for this kind of behavior, we must punish it fiercely, so that the people of the Dragon Kingdom know about our football in England." Before he could finish speaking, he was rudely interrupted by Prince William. "Are you pig brains?" If you want to make a diplomatic accident, Lao Tzu will not hesitate to take it down. For 5 minutes, Prince William had been greeting Brindham's family with words that began with F. I haven't done anything yet, the Dragon Foreign Ministry has spoken? Mark Brenham is going to cry. I am also wronged, isn't it, to deal with a little rookie head coach? The Dragon people need such a big battle? The answer is yes, it works. Episode 17. By the time Liu Yi returned to Manchester United, the punishment for him had come out. The FA official pushed Manchester United manager Liu Yi, provoked in the game for some reason, fined £30,000. Tottenham fans played insulting slogans during the game, fined the club £100,000, and the fans involved were not allowed to watch the game live for a year. The official push of Manchester United clubs immediately forwarded the tweet to express their support for the manager. The club will help the manager bear the fines, and we will always be with the manager, and it is his unwavering backing. Probably no one thought that behind such a simple announcement, there was almost a diplomatic accident. The matter just dissipated, and Liu Yi, who returned to his residence, also received a call from Sandesi. Liu, your fine club has helped you pay it, you can rest assured that you can boldly do it, and look forward to your next victory. The two of them said a few polite words, and there was nothing to say, and they hung up the phone, and now they were not good enough to be that kind of colleague. This villa covers an area of 400 square meters, and it is really a bit deserted to live alone. 7 rooms, Liu Yi can sleep 1 a day, rotate once a week, and take a bus all the way back from London, and he is really tired. 3 days later, it was the Champions League group stage, against Atlanta. The main highlight is a tight time and heavy task. However, Liu Yi didn't care. Anyway, he was forced to open and hang things. Why did he let himself be so tired? When he woke up, it was already 10 o'clock in the evening, and his stomach was grumbling, making him miss the domestic takeaway, ordering takeout near Carrington, waiting for it to be afraid that he had been starved to death. Casually tinkering in the kitchen, earning some food for yourself, cooking in this era is basically a necessary skill for a man. While eating, I opened my notebook and entered the game. A series of tips, flashing Coach Liu was dazzled. Congratulations to the host for leading Manchester United to the first big win and rewarding Manchester United with 1% stake. Liu Yi was shocked. Manchester United's market value is now $2.6 billion, 1% of the shares is $26 million, and the good guys themselves have not yet received their first week of salary. They have developed this feeling that can only be described as happiness. Congratulations to the host's players for scoring a hat-trick and rewarding the stars of tomorrow. In the team's youth training system, there will be a future superstar with a potential of more than 180 in half a year. Please pay more attention. In half a year, count the time, probably the game once a year, refresh the youth training days. I hope to give myself a surprise. Congratulations to the host for winning the first league. The reward characteristics are fascinating. Click on the small question mark at the back. The explanation is also there, probably meaning that from now on, Liu Yi is more likely to be trusted and liked. This feature is a bit interesting. After all, no one is willing to be scolded every day, like their own people more. Naturally it is the best, not to mention that Coach Liu is still a single dog for 30 years. Congratulations to the host's players, someone who has reached full loyalty and rewards a part-time national team card, which can be used to coach a national team on national team match day while coaching at the club. So I have the opportunity to coach the Dragon Country national team? This idea has just risen. It was directly suppressed by Liu Yi. The problem of Longwa football, not only the problem of football, I am afraid that it is not something that an external coach can solve. Let yourself live a few years less, or don't do it well. If other national teams have the opportunity, they can try it. After all, the World Cup is such an event, they still have to have a sense of participation. Let's see who it is, right? I haven't done anything myself, and there are players with a loyalty of 20, full value, which is where the charm of his personality lies. One player after another, see Ronaldo's loyalty rose directly from 3 to 13, and other players also rose slightly, but most of them were within 10. When it came to Fred, Liu Yi suddenly had a little feeling, I am afraid that this is this guy. Of all the Manchester United players, the most criticized is probably Fred, who came to Manchester United from absenteeism at a cost of €59 million. Over the years, the evaluation is that it is not worthy to play for Manchester United, or even the Premier League. No matter how hard he tried, how desperately he ran, how he tried to play with his life, but some things were doomed to be unable to catch up. Whether it is a fan or a celebrity of the team, he has never had a good evaluation of him. He also knows what his problems are, But some things are innate and difficult to change through hard work, and you can imagine how much pressure he has. Once the contract with Manchester United expires, I am afraid it will be difficult to raise the ball in a team of this level. Now under this inexplicable opportunity, the rookie manager of the team has a way to improve his ability, so that Fred is like grasping for a life-saving straw. In the match against Tottenham, he ran 14.6 kilometers across the field, which is the best proof. Click on it and look at the hidden attributes, and sure enough, the loyal subjects went straight from 16 to 20. I am willing to give everything for Liu, even if I run and break my leg, I will not stop. In the system, you can still see Fred's voice, so that Liu Yi was immediately moved, such as 0 people do not cultivate, who else is worth cultivating? It just so happens that Fred Zama has been walking for 2 or 3 days, adding some attributes to him, and it can be said that the past can be completely said. Liu Yi did not hesitate to convince himself to continue to improve Fred's ability, which was also very good for his prestige in the team. Episode 18. Open Fred's attribute panel. It is still very different from before, and it is probably impossible to expect to improve on his own. The passing still can't be improved, and Liu Yi has not yet taught the divine skill cheats. Previously raised to 15 before the steal, now continues +1 to 16. This point is the metamorphosis, which directly increases Fred's overall rating from 145 to 146, which is so overbearing. The defensive position is also improved a little, from 15 to 16, which is also a change in value. Starting from 15, without increasing a little, it represents a huge increase in ability. Body balance was directly increased by 2 points, from 14 to 16, which increased Fred's ability to fight a lot. Strong also +2, reaching 15 points. In the future, it will continue to improve, cannot be mentioned at one time, then what else to do? Liu Yi spent 330 reputation points, the Fred ability, directly from 145 to 150. This data can already fully establish itself in the Premier League, and even the main players of midstream teams. Burst it Fred, don't let me down. Looking at the image of Fred in front of him, Liu Yi secretly shouted in his heart, which is more than investing in C. Luo. There is a flexible +1 for Cristiano Ronaldo, from 14 to 15. However, for C. Ronaldo, who has an ability of up to 190, it is more difficult to increase the total ability by 1 point. The rest of the people, who are highly loyal to themselves, Liu Yi will take the lead in coming to the lucky one, of course, more than 10. After all, it is all promotion. Promotion can look up to themselves, have no prejudice against themselves, respect their own players, is a reasonable choice as a person. A night without words, Liu Yi slept on Twitter in the long night, leaning on the little sister on Twitter. I have to say that you don't have to go over the wall to see the welfare, that is really cool. When he woke up the next day, Liu Yi thought that he had watched the picture of the little sister for 2 hours last night, and couldn't help but laugh at himself. I'm a billionaire, but I still can't get rid of the dick mentality. Wash up quickly, and just as he was about to run to the training base, a Bentley stopped in front of him. Hey, coach, get in the car. The appearance of C. Luo was unexpectedly a circle to pick himself up, and he did not waste himself to improve his ability. Liu Yi sighed in his heart and sat down on the co-pilot. Coach. Just call me Liu Yi in private. C. Luo is as good as a stream, and sure enough, he calls Liu Yi by his name in small talk, or simply calls Liu Yi, and issues 2 Chinese character syllables, which is not easy for him. Liu, the cheats you gave me are so good to use, I feel like I'm 2 years younger. Keep practicing, and you'll find more benefits. Liu Yi reminded that this guy should not give up halfway, but considering C. Luo's self-discipline and professionalism, he is purely worried. Well, of course, to thank you, I decided to give you a car. How funny that. Of course, Liu Yi needs a car, but he is a poor egg now, and if it were not for the fact that accommodation did not cost money, he would have to sleep on the road now. He's been at Manchester United for less than a week, not to mention doing something else, even saving a little while eating. This is a gift as a friend, and I hope you can stay at Manchester United for a long time. C. Luo was full of happiness, and said to himself, but he did not tell Liu Yi what car to send. After arriving at Carrington Base, after parking the car, the two entered the training ground together. I saw Fred also come in, opening his mouth to greet Liu Yi. Creation of Sangao. What do you say? Liu Yi felt that his brain was a little insufficient, which country's language was not within the range of the 5 Chinese he was proficient in, and vaguely felt a bit like the meaning of dragon language. Fred looked proud and changed to Spanish to speak to Liu Yi. How about the coach, the result of my learning dragon language one night, is it not a surprise? Good guys, it is indeed dragon language, surprise no, but Liu Yi is indeed a little moved, worthy of loyalty of his own people, have begun to take the initiative to learn dragon language. I'm going to Italy tomorrow, and I'm going to do some tactical exercises today, to avoid injuries. In the tactics room, Liu Yi stood in front, pointing to a small blackboard with a picture of the court, and opposite the team's players and coaching staff. Away to Atlanta, we have to keep attacking. Our slogan is. Lingard was the first to stand up and shouted. Attack harder, advance more cool. Yes, Liu Yi gave a satisfied thumbs up and signaled Lin Huang to sit down and talk, seeing that in the case of this boy being so clever, he could give him some benefits. Liu, Atlanta is not easy to deal with, we should focus on solid defense. McKenna stepped forward again and expressed his dissenting opinion. Looking at his face full of defiance, a look of contempt for not understanding the ball, Liu Yi was angry. The point is that you understand the ball, but after a few years, Manchester United has made a mess and has a fart skill, so Liu Yi pointed directly to the door. You, get out. McKenna looked at Liu Yi with some shock and pointed to his nose. You let me out? Liu Yi waved his hand, a look of disgust. Hurry, not who else you are. Suddenly McKenna was angry, directly got up and walked outside. He was going to find the CEO, to find the head of the complaint. This dragon country who did not understand anything, is destroying Manchester United. Once you can't get a point from Atlanta, then Manchester United's Champions League road is probably coming to an end. The most important thing is that he looks down on Liu Yi at all. After Solskjaer finished class, he still thought he had a chance, but he did not expect to be climbed on the head by a dragon cub who did not understand the ball, and he could not bear it. Carrick's body moved, looking like he wanted to say something. Liu Yi handed it over with a look, which immediately made Carrick dispel the idea of speaking, swallowed the spit, and swallowed back the words that reached the throat eyes. Very good, it seems that everyone agrees with me, and then we talk about tactical arrangements. Coach Liu smiled satisfactorily and began to move on to the next step. Episode 19. At the beginning of the training session, it was still a 442 attack formation, which also allowed the coaching staff and players to see the determination of their own head coach and the enthusiasm for attack. Van der Beek flashed past McTominay and a pass was again successfully stolen by Fred. Throughout the first half, such a scene was the fifth time, which made Van der Beek feel a little helpless. He did not know whether his form was not good enough, or Fred was in too good shape. Not only Van der Beek, but other players have also found that Fred has become more and more reliable. Both the content of the last game and what he has shown in training now are enough to prove that he is undergoing a transformation. What's going on here? Van der Beek, Martial Anthony, Sancho, and even Pogba, these players in unstable positions, are full of doubts. They didn't know Fred for a day and a half, and they knew his abilities very well. The beginning of the change is from the new coach to take office. At that time, in the training class, everyone thought that it was the result of his desperate performance, and now it seems that there may be something else hidden. I remember the coach calling Fred in the office before. I remember, and I called Cristiano. Lingard and Sancho were chatting, looking at Liu Yi on the sidelines from time to time, hesitating whether to take the initiative to show goodwill and have a good relationship with the coach. Sancho is still young, but for Jesse Lingard, he must show his value in recent years, otherwise there will be no hope for his football career. I have to figure out what's going on here. Lingard made up his mind secretly. He endured great difficulties in the first 2 years, withstanding boundless ridicule, and finally had a good performance on loan to West Ham United in the second half of last season. After returning to Manchester United, he has made a huge contribution to Manchester United in the few playing hours, but unfortunately for the former manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this has not changed more playing time. Fortunately, the new manager gave him enough trust in the first game to start and play all the games, which is worthy of his gratitude from this point. At the end of the afternoon training, Fred was in the locker room, surrounded by several teammates. Even the others were listening, wanting to know some secret news. Fred, what's the secret to your sudden improvement in performance lately? Looking at Lingard in front of him, he looked at the others, and after thinking about it, he decided to be frank, so that everyone would have more confidence in Liu. Of course, do you remember the day Liu Gang came? He called me to the office, encouraged me, and gave me a training plan. Training plan? The crowd keenly grasped the point, and their eyes flashed suddenly. Can we find out? Of course. Fred was sure that his training plan had no other secrets, and simply showed everyone Zamabo. While taking a step, he explained, that's it, half an hour a day is enough, but I exercise for an hour every day, which is very convenient, anytime, anywhere. that's it? Marshall was somewhat incredulous. To say this is a question to the coach, as a loyal player, Fred could not tolerate his doubts, and on the spot he was afraid to go back. It's that simple, but no one ever told me that doing so would allow me to improve my confrontation. After saying that, Fred pushed Marshall away and left the locker room, so confident that he was strong. Liu Yi did not leave early, but waited at the door of the locker room, waiting for the team members to come out. Fred pushed the door out and saw Liu Yi at a glance, and a smile immediately appeared on his black face. "Sir, do you need me to take you home?" "No, you go home and remember to train hard, of course, don't hurt yourself, combine work and leisure." Liu Yi patted Fred on the shoulder and told him a few words. Fred gratefully bowed to Liu Yi and startled Liu Yi. "Hurry up and pull him up, reach out and put your arms around his neck, the relationship is still close." "Well, your ability has improved, my coaching is also guaranteed, in the words of our Dragon Kingdom, we are a win-win cooperation. I'll get everything for you, sir, trust me." Liu Yi naturally believes, after all, the system will not deceive people. Sending Fred away, Liu Yi couldn't help but sigh in his heart. When people are desperate, reaching out and pulling a hand can really win people's hearts. Of course, the person who accepts help must also be a grateful person. Other players also came out one after another and greeted Liu Yi one after another. In the minds of most players, Liu Yi has changed from a 3-game boss to a guy who may have some skills. See Luo, who came out of the shower, also sorted out his hairstyle, and saw Liu Yi and thought he was waiting for him. "Sir, how about going to my house for dinner?" "Chicken breast, I don't want to eat whitewater chicken breast." Liu Yi high-fived him, and then made a well-known joke that triggered well-meaning laughter from the others. "It allows you to eat 2 more eggs." "Great choice, but Jessie has decided to send me home, right?" Liu Yi looked at Lin Jiada, behind Si Luo, and handed him a look. Lingard understood in his heart, knowing that the coach had something to say to himself, and his heart was immediately on fire. "Cristiano's chicken breast, or leave it to myself to eat, I decided to take the coach to dinner." "Have fun." Si Luo hugged Liu Yi again, patted Lingard's shoulder, and everything was silent. Jesse Lingard drives a Range Rover, which is not a burden for his salary. Liu Yi sat on the co-pilot, looking at Lingard, whose contract will expire next summer, planning how to let him stay, thinking that he was almost at the door, or decided to go straight to the door and get straight to the point. "Jesse, I want you to stay." Hearing this, Jesse Lingard was a little stunned. He really had feelings for Manchester United, otherwise he would have left long ago. "Coach, I was really ready to leave before you came because I needed more opportunities and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't trust me. I can't answer you right now, I need to think about it, please give me some time." Liu Yi looked at Manchester United's sincere Lingard, reached out and patted him on the shoulder, nodded his head and agreed. Episode 20. In the evening, Liu Yi entered the game and began to study the game against Atlanta. However, the first thing to pay attention to is that the loyalty of the team's players has generally increased, but more than 10 points, there are still only Ronaldo and Fred. Lingard Cancan was standing at 10 o'clock, and the system clearly reflected his voice. "I am confused about my future and future, I dare not make a decision easily, I hope the manager can give himself more time." Sigh softly, this is all Solskjaer's pot. Obviously, Jesse Lingard's form has rebounded and he has performed well, but he just can't get the opportunity. He didn't break out like Van der Beek, and he was already a good temper. Looking at the line of names on the screen, morale is basically not very high except for a few people. It's my Manchester United now, and that's going to change. In the game, only 3 games were simulated. Liu Yi got the result he wanted, and the last time he played Tottenham Hotspur simulated 6 times. It can be seen that from the lineup, Manchester United absolutely crushed Atlanta. But under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it was a very hard kick and a stumbling block. To use an old saying, it means that one general is incompetent and exhausts the 3 armies. As a fan, thinking of all this is not good, not to mention that the players who are parties know their own abilities, but they can't show it, how can they not be depressed? Continue to Twitter to see the little sister, and then go to sleep alone in the lonely night. The next day, Manchester United's charter flight landed in Italy, with the Atlanta club in Bergamo, next door to the famous Milanese duo. Liu Yi first came to this ancient city, facing this ancient club. Atlanta club also has a history of more than 100 years. Previously at home, Manchester United relied on Cristiano Ronaldo's 80-minute header to force the score from 2-2 to 3-2. Now it's Atlanta's turn at home, and most of the media and commentators feel that the Atlanta Congress is teaching Manchester United a hard lesson at home and taking back their lost hands. Not Tottenham's playful defense, Atlanta will surely make Manchester United feathered. Hashtag Milano Sport. See, Ronaldo will certainly be grainless, and Manchester United's rookie manager will cry. Hashtag Italian football. Ronaldo will leave Juventus, regret coming back to Manchester United. Manchester United is simply not going to match Juventus. Hashtag Turin Sport. Hashtag Cristiano, after 2 less than successful seasons in Italy, this time the Italian team will also let him return to England with a disgraced face again. Hashtag La Republic. 78% of the people on the internet who voted on whether hashtag Manchester United could score 3 points in Atlanta felt that they couldn't. The remaining 22% are either fans from Dragon Country or Manchester United fans. England is also not optimistic about Manchester United, and large and small media have commented on Liu Yi and his Manchester United concerns. Hashtag hope Manchester United will not return with a disastrous defeat and maintain the dignity of English football. Hashtag Sky Sports. Hashtag with Ronaldo's superb performance in the last game, the Manchester United rookie manager got away with a victory, and Atlanta will not give this face. Hashtag Liverpool Echo. Even Manchester United celebrities spoke up, expressing their dissatisfaction with Manchester United. Scholes, if I were a United manager, I'd do a good job defensively. Gary Neville, Tottenham's game is full of contingencies and doesn't prove Lau's level, against an old fox like Gasperini, Atlanta manager, and the steel defense of Italian football, it's hard for me to believe him. Neville's commentator partner, Liverpool star Carragher, also made his own comments. It's really a fun game, I think I'll be in a good mood for the next week, and then laugh at Neville. It is worthy of being an old wrongdoer who loves and kills each other, and this cannot forget Neville. Italian Liu Yi did not learn, but want to learn is also a matter of minutes. Just arrived at the hotel, the first thing is to learn Italian, look at the dog day media, and then say what bad things about Lao Tzu. After looking around, there is no scolding, probably because of the Italian bullish standing technology, so the relationship with the Dragon Kingdom in recent years is good. Basically, it is all ridicule and disapproval, claiming to teach themselves a lesson and maintain the authority of European football. Good fellow, Europa, who could not be unified by Napoleon and the bankrupt painter, stood together when he faced himself as a rookie coach of the Dragon Kingdom. When he stepped on the training in the afternoon, Liu Yi took out the newspaper he bought from the hotel and read it to everyone one by one. Cristiano, this guy said you can't score against Atlanta. I think you can score a hat-trick. What do you think? Sir, I think so too. See, Liu answered loudly, showing that he was in a good mood now. The atmosphere on the court is relaxed, but everyone is not careless. After all, the difficulties of the home stadium against Atlanta have not been long ago. Guys, the media of the whole world, and most of the people in this world, think it's hard for us to get out of Italy. What do you think? Sir, I think we can get at least 3 points. Fred was the first to discover and show his loyalty to Liu Yi. Coach, since Cristiano can score 3 goals, then we will definitely have a big win. Van der Beek may have sensed that his opportunity was coming, and he was very positive. Coach, I think we're going to score 5 goals. Pogba also smiled and came over, although he said he wanted to escape from Manchester United, but now that there is nothing to get away with, he does not mind waiting. It seems that the people's hearts and minds are available, and their own players are also murderous. Guys all over the world don't believe you can get a victory, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that I believe in you, and I believe we can stand on the opposite side of the world and say no, you're wrong to everyone.